Hi, I'm Jooehn, and I'm here with joindota.com, and with me I have Synderen. How you feeling today?
I'm good. It's been a nice day so far. Enjoyed a couple of games. Went to get some nice food. So
Yeah, I mean, usually you are behind the scenes in the tournaments, and this time you've been actually in front of the scene because you've been here like more of a spectator, if I'm not mistaken. And how does that feel? You're not being involved in the same manner.
it's basically like going here has been like a holiday for myself and my girlfriend. So she's participating in the cosplay contest in addition to that. And apart from that, we're just having a good time relaxing. I'm meeting a lot of people I know. I'm also getting to meet some new people, which is great. So just having a good time hanging out with people who like the same stuff I do.
Oh, yeah, that sounds awesome. What about the games so far? It's been quite a hectic tournament. It's been a lot of games, especially yesterday. There was a very tight schedule. What do you think about it so far overall?
Like just the event here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't think it's been too surprising. I think Virtus Pro have perhaps been the biggest surprise, but then again, not so much. I think beating Cloud9 2-0 today was a big surprise. I think they had a good shot at winning, but winning 2-0 like they did was perhaps not to be expected. But they're doing really well recently, so that's good for them. Apart from that, EG kind of crushed Polar. I was expecting that, so I'm not too surprised with that. And then as far as yesterday's matches, I don't know, it's kind of hard for me to place a team like Team Tinker. I guess 4AC going in were the underdogs, so them getting last place is perhaps not the biggest surprise, but Tinker was a team that was hard to place. I think they had the potential to beat both Polar and Virtus Pro Classic. Going up against Cloud9 or EG, I would probably put them as underdogs, but against Polar and Classic, they had a good shot. It just didn't work out for them, unfortunately. But I think overall, good matches. I haven't been too surprised with anything, though. Like, there's nothing that really stood out like absolutely amazing. But then again, I also didn't see game number 2. I heard that was really good, game number 2 between Cloud9 and Virtus Pro. So I guess I missed something there. Yeah,
it was a pretty nice game. The Russians have taken like us by a little bit of surprise. I mean, I think no one really expected them to beat both Team Tinker and 4ASC 1-0. In the first games of yesterday. How much of their performance, like their ability to crush these teams, lies in their picking strategies right now? I mean, like they play a lot of Elder Titan.
Yeah, a lot of teams do though. I don't think the main success for Virtus Pro or Virtus Pro Polar has been the drafting. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think Slark has won like every single game this tournament, and Virtus Pro Polar got that twice, or maybe even 3 times, so that's been a part of their success, that they've been able to grab it and do well with it. So Slark has been a really big pick for any team that got it. Elder Titan's win rate, I guess, is where it should be. I think it won some, lost some, and unless if I'm mistaken, but there's nothing that really stood out to me as far as their drafting. For me, so far in this tournament, obviously we've not seen that many showings yet from EG or Cloud9. I think the most solid drafting has been EG, which is also what I expected. I think their drafts against Virtus Pro Polar were probably the best drafts of the tournament, like where there was the biggest difference in potential and how the game plans worked out, and we saw it, how they won it very easily 2-0 because of that. Virtus Pro and Virtus Pro Polar, I think, have really upped their game. I think the biggest improvement I've seen from both teams is their decision making. They're just better at not making. I guess the Achilles heel of Virtus Pro in the past was that they got a lead and then they were really over aggressive. They like dove and they lost heroes in the base and got caught out farming, and they've just become way more disciplined, both teams. So what used to be their biggest weakness was actually that. Now that they've improved that, then they can transition their good early games into a mid game that makes sense, get objectives, and then finally win the game. I think that's way more important for them than the drafting, which I guess is average along with other teams, and then you could say there's like a little bit of a step up right now in this tournament, maybe to EG.
Yeah, Virtus Pro Polar has been like the more diverse of the two teams in the drafts, with FNG trying a lot of new heroes that he thinks are quite good. For example, today he picked Chaos Knight, and yesterday he picked up Lina. What do you think about his attempt to make new changes in the metagame?
I'm not sure if he's trying to make changes as such, or if he's just, obviously it's a change for the individual game.
Yeah.
Calling it a change in the metagame, I think, is stretching it, because then it would make an impact and start becoming a bigger pick. The Chaos Knight in the game he picked that I think was okay. It turned out to work fine, but it didn't solve the problem that they had, which was that they lost control of the map and they got out-farmed. The Chaos Knight is not really good at playing from behind, to be honest, unless if the draft fits perfectly, but it didn't in that game. The Lina game, I think I remember that game. I think they lost that one too.
Yeah, pretty hard.
Yeah. I like creativity, and I like the fact that they try something new. And as it always is with those picks, it can work out really well and work out really poorly. In neither of the games do I think that pick made a big difference either way or the other. I think it was just solid. What I love seeing is when teams, for example, the Chaos Knight was a last pick, when you see an opening in the draft to try something different, not just because you want to try something different, but because you have an idea and it fits your strategy and it's good against the enemy strategy. That's when it's a good pick, right? And the Chaos Knight in that game had its merits, but there was also some shortcomings. So, but still, just the fact that the captains are more aware of some of the less picked heroes can be really interesting in some games.
Okay. How much can it matter to actually pick a quite an unknown hero, like say CK in a draft? I mean, this time it didn't really work out for them, but as a surprise pick, to just pick something else than the regular.
It does a couple of things. The first thing is, if the enemy team is not used to playing against it, you'll always be more in your comfort zone if you're playing against heroes that you've played against in the last month, right? Then you're more used to playing against them. If you're playing against the Chaos Knight and you haven't dealt with it for, let's say, you haven't played against the Chaos Knight in 2 months, which is actually realistic for a lot of teams, then they need to adjust to, oh, hang on a second, how powerful is he really? What's his damage? What's his exact range? How should we feel about the cast times? And you just need to get a little bit of a feel for it. So the surprise pick factor is really good. But more important than any of those things is when one of those surprise picks, once again, fits so well. And Chaos Knight for me is like a niche pick where if the enemy team has very poor AoE damage and AoE control, he can be one of the best picks in the pool. Like, I usually refer to a hero like Storm Spirit and Weaver as two of my heroes that are at the top of the charts of how much potential they have if they're not counterpicked. Like, playing against a Storm without a silence or a stun is an absolute nightmare, right? Weaver kind of falls in the same category. And then Chaos Knight is the same, but in a different way. Also very hard to deal with if you don't have the counters, and those are generally AoE damage. So, but in that game, I think EG had what they needed against it, even though the idea was okay. So there's definitely, I think a lot of the times getting something unusual can win you games, and I think it's a really good approach, especially for the teams that are the underdogs going in to pull something new out and see if it can work.
I was thinking, for captain to get a new pick into the draft, how much does it matter for the players that are going to play said hero if they haven't really practiced it? I mean, how much does it matter to be playing a hero that you're very content with and practice with, compared to something that might actually be a surprise to the other team?
If the pick is good enough, let's say you have the choice between playing a Chaos Knight that you've practiced in 2 scrims and playing Luna that you've practiced in 15 scrims. If the Chaos Knight is good enough, then it's still worth it. Okay. Because at the end of the day, these are talented players and they know how to play the game, and they have played all the heroes, obviously. Even if they've only played them a couple of times, just that little bit of experience, sure, you're not as good with a Chaos Knight as if you had played it 10 more times, but it's still, if it has enough merit in the strategy, you have to trust in your teammates' ability to play the heroes. And I think a lot of the times that's the shortcomings for some teams, is that they either don't have faith in themselves or in each other, that you can pick something unusual, and if the captain thinks it's good enough, then he should be, I mean, in theory, he should be able to pick anything, right? Like, this is the best pick, guys, we have to play it, and sometimes the players can say, we don't agree, or I don't feel comfortable with the hero, and then maybe you don't. But a lot of the times I would definitely say that, let's say, the players, unless if the player is really uncomfortable with the hero, I would say if you think it's the best pick, then go for it.
Okay. So let's leave DreamHack for a bit and go to your current work, like you're not doing when you're at a holiday like this. So could you tell us a bit about the XMG Captain's Draft that you're doing with the Dota Cinema?
Sure, what do you want to know?
Well, you talked about how interesting it is to see creativity in a draft, and I knew we see that daily in the Captain's Draft tournament. And what are some of the most entertaining drafts that you've seen so far?
I'll obviously the fact that we got some heroes that aren't in captain's mode is always entertaining to watch. That that was changed so that they could pick the all of the heroes in the game. That was really cool. That's made for some great games. I think a hero that stands out for me, #1 standout hero that has kind of spilled over for me is probably Phantom Assassin from our tournament that got picked a couple of times, had great success, and then suddenly we see it a lot more in captain's mode. So I feel like there might be a connection there. It could also just be that the teams have secretly started scrimming it and then our tournament was the first we really saw it in, but then we would probably have seen it a little more in CM at the same time. So that's been pretty cool to see the rise of PA. I think she's a very entertaining hero to watch from a spectator point of view. Anything that has to do with percentages often makes for some really exciting moments like big crits or clutch evasion or whatever. So very entertaining to see. Apart from that, just generally, I think in our tournament, if I'm not mistaken, there's only been 2 heroes that haven't been either picked or banned at all, which are Shadow Fiend and Night Stalker, I think, which is a big shame for me personally because I love Night Stalker and would love to see him played, but he's really not in a good spot still, in my opinion. But just the overall diversity and the fact that the teams have been creative and picking a lot of different stuff in the different games and also trying some really unconventional support picks and stuff like that has been entertaining. So it's just been a lot of good stuff. I can't really point anything out apart from the PA that really stands out though.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it has seen a great response from the audience, and it's risen a lot. I mean, you get a lot of prize money for the event since last time, the first season. And how do you think that it has a lot to do with the the fun part of the tournament?
I think the way it looks right now with tournaments and what you can see just from the stats of when you combine all the things like prestige and what teams are playing, what the base prize pool is, what the mode is, all these things, does it have LAN finals or not? The #1 draw for every single tournament ticket is the items that comes with it. That's just how it is. And you'll see that if you look through the tickets and what sells well and what doesn't, people want some sort of return on their investment, which makes sense, right? You want to buy something and you want to get some value out of it. So I want to say a big part of the draw of our tournament is definitely the Captain's Draft mode, which stands out so that we're unique. And there's no doubt that a lot of people have bought the ticket because they want to support that mode and think it's cool. It's also the response we've got in the survey that we have in our compendium. There's a lot of people who say it's one of the most important reasons they bought it is that they love the mode. But still, of course, when you compare it, just the way the prize pool increases is that people either buy the compendium or the Juggernaut set. And a huge part of the increase of the prize pool has been the Juggernaut set, which in a way has no direct connection with the tournament apart from contributing a little bit, whereas the compendium obviously has like stuff that connects with the tournament on a different level. So that's definitely been the bigger thing. But even let's imagine we had in quote unquote the same stuff as last time, then I'm sure we would have still raised more because there's more attention to the tournament. People are appreciating it more and more. We had better teams this time. We had a bigger tournament, more games, more teams. So all of those things combined have made for a really great response, like you said.
Okay. I think we're going to finish off with a little game that we've put up on the spot, sort of. And it's going to be a quiz to test your ability and knowledge of the game that is quite impressive.
I hope these questions aren't too hard.
Yeah, we didn't really know what kind of questions to go with, but I think we have a good bunch so far. So the first question out of 3 is about Clockwork. We try to pick some questions about the heroes that are most played on your
on my profile,
Dota buff profile.
Oh dear.
So, okay. What type of unit are Clockwork's power cogs?
What type of unit they are?
Yeah.
Let me think. They are. I'm not sure what that's called. The first thing that comes to mind is ward, because nothing else damages it apart from attacks, and then they're hard-coded to do that. And it's not a building, because then other things would. I'm going to say ward.
It's true. Correct. Good job. Okay, we're moving on to the next one about Night Stalker.
Oh boy.
So Night Stalker's abilities can be affected by another hero's ability. Which spell and hero?
Ultimate Eclipse.
Yeah. Very nice. It's a 2-part question. So we're gonna move on with which of his abilities don't get affected by it.
By Luna's ultimate?
Yeah.
Darkness.
Yeah.
His own ultimate.
Correct. Okay, third, final question. This might be a bit hard.
I said that with every question. It's been fine so far. So I guess I shouldn't say it all.
Yeah.
Nice.
What is special about Thunder God's Raft's instance of damage on the enemies of Zeus around the map? Except that it doesn't hit invisible units.
That it gives vision of them?
No.
I mean, that's special.
Something else. Yeah. I should have.
I guess there's other abilities that do that. Okay.
But it's something very special, you know, when it hits.
It gives true sight in an AoE around the target.
That's not really what I'm looking for, but it is true.
Okay.
Nonetheless.
So, okay, let me think again then.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Do I get bonus points for getting more right answer?
Maybe.
Okay. What else does it do? So, something that's really unique about it.
It's a very unique mechanic of. I mean, it's very unexpected. It's not really what you believe would happen because it's not very obvious. It doesn't really affect the ability, but it's very unique and, as I said, unlikely.
Okay. Those were the two things that really came to mind for me. Maybe I know it. Hopefully I don't know it when you say it. Then I'll learn something new. I guess I'm out of time.
Okay. It doesn't hit every hero simultaneously, but in a specific order, depending on the color of each
color
player.
order. That's true. Yeah, it hits from pink to brown if you're dire, and from blue to orange if you're radiant.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
True.
I think
I knew that, but I didn't think about it. That's right.
I think that's a very good answer since you knew the order of the color. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, does that not have an impact on the game? It actually does.
It does.
In theory, let's say you kill like 3 heroes with Thunder God's Wrath, and they're different level. Then based on your own level, you get different experience. But you kill blue first, and then if you level up, you get a different amount of experience for killing teal, right?
Yeah.
So if it's coded that way, so that slight delay if you level up in between, or if the delay is so short that you don't level up in between, I don't know. That was
there was also something about
make it
if it hits one of the first in an area, and there are 2 invisible heroes in
then
that
they can
area.
get hit afterwards.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
another. So yeah, it does make a difference.
So yeah, it's a pretty cool ability. Anyway, before you get to go and make your shoutouts, I want to give you as a prize for participating and answering very well.
Oh, thank you very much.
One of our very own new Join Dota t-shirts.
I actually have one, but I'm not sure it's the same
It's a new
one.
batch. It's completely new.
This is different from the one I have. Thank you. That's cool. Nice. This
You're
goes
very
to
welcome.
my Join Dota shirt collection, which currently has a size of 1 and now 2. That's great.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
So, shoutouts.
Shoutouts. Well, just all the nice people here having a great time. I hope they're having as good a time as I am, and everyone at home for watching and supporting both the stuff I do, the stuff we do, and this whole tournament. It's been really cool.
Yeah, thanks. This has been Jooehn for JoinDota.com, and stay tuned for more.